told Ronnie said something, Martin. I said, "Will you run him back in here then, and I'm going to show you how to ride him."
Welcome. My name is Doug Simcox, and this is Beyond the Chutes as presented by ParaSight Systems. In this episode, I talk with Auburn, New York cowboy Joe Farrelly. Now, Joe got started in rodeo pretty young. He was helped along by a mentor and a coach by the name of Ward Mitchell, and you will see how important his relationship with Ward was to him throughout his entire career and extends through in his life today. Now, he's had an interesting rodeo career, and I'm glad that we get to bring it to you. Now, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Search for Beyond the Chutes and follow us. And we also have a brand new website for you to check out, beyondthechutes.show. I hope that you enjoy this episode about the two-event cowboy, Mr. Joe Farrelly. And I'm on the phone with Mr. Joe Farrelly, who is now living in Tonopah, Arizona. And I looked it up on the map, Joe. Tonopah is west of Phoenix, yes?
Yes, just west of Buckeye. It's west of Phoenix, and then Buckeye, we're a little west of Buckeye, Arizona.
Okay. And what's the weather like down there today?
Today I think I looked at my phone here a while ago. It was 102 degrees. That was about an hour ago here. About 8 o'clock I looked, but it's supposed to go to 108 today.
108? That is, doesn't that feel just hot? Isn't that crazy hot?
It's not crazy hot yet. No.
Okay. When does it get crazy hot?
It'll be like ridiculous crazy. Come July, end of June, July. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
it's brutal.
It's brutal. I was going to say somebody once said I was having a conversation with somebody in Arizona, and they said, "Yeah, it's hot, but there's no humidity, so it's not quite the same." And I said, "Well, so is an oven. Doesn't have a lot of humidity." But so how is Debbie and the girls?
Debbie and the girls are doing fantastic.
Okay.
Yep.
Growing up. How old are the girls now?
Well, Kayla will be 16. She'll be 17 here in a few, be not too far off in September.
Okay.
And then the younger one, Kiara, she turned 15 in March.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's
but
good.
They're both in school, you know. Yeah.
That is excellent. And you're enjoying Arizona? I mean, from upstate New York, you're enjoying Arizona.
I do. I really love it out here.
Okay. And what is it that, no doubt the winters, right? You come from Auburn, New York.
Yeah.
So is it just the winters or what really? Yeah.
I got tired of the winters up there. You know, I was born there and I left when I was 61 and I pushed a lot of snow with tractors. I shoveled a lot of snow, shoveling off the rough so they, get the weight off. And the bitter cold.
Yeah.
I'd rather sweat to death the way I always said as a little kid. I'd rather sweat and be out in that winter.
Absolutely. No, I can appreciate that. That must be a neat change and good to get out of the cold and the ice and the rain and the snow and all that sort of thing. Right. So let's talk a little bit about, you say you were talking just a bit ago about growing up in Auburn. Was it Auburn, New York you grew up, Joe?
Yes, okay. Sir, Auburn.
Okay, and for our listeners, where is Auburn on the map?
Auburn was set just west of Syracuse, New York, about 30 miles west off on Interstate 90. Okay. It's about 4 miles due south there off the Interstate 90.
Okay. And grew up in town, grew up on a farm?
Well, we raised in the city there of Auburn. Problems went out when my father, they split up. So I was like 4 years old. My mom's trying to raise me and my sister, Sherry. We end up going to the country, in the country outside Auburn. She got, had a boyfriend there, and we ended up moving in with him. And he was a dairy farmer and a horse trader.
Oh, okay.
And
so
that was nice.
Okay, so did you start riding horses then? You're 5-6 years old at this point?
Yeah, well, I had, he'd be like, George was his name. he had a pony there named Goldie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I would ride with Goldie
Okay.
when I was 5 years old.
So just pleasure riding, trail riding? Did you get into any kind of competitions? Yeah.
Well, at that age, you got to learn how to ride. I always rode bareback.
Okay.
I didn't want a saddle.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to go out in the pastures. Oh, I was still 5, could have been 6 maybe, but I'd go out in the pastures and bring the cows up for their milking.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I get on my little pony Goldie, and away I go out and bring the cows back up to the barn out of the pasture, for milking in the mornings or in the evenings.
Okay. So you developed quite a seat then.
Yes, I did. I did.
And that became helpful later on in other things, no doubt, as we talked.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you milk cows, Joe? Did you?
I never milked the cows. No, we. The cows got TB. Not for sure just how that goes, but you can't. The cows can live if you want, but you'd never be able to. You'd have to milk them and dump your milk out, because it wasn't good for humans.
Oh, okay.
So he ended up selling all the cows, and he became a bigger horse dealer.
A what dealer?
Big horse dealer.
Oh, horse dealer.
He had horses,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
He kind of did a little dealing in horses,
Okay.
I just remember being a kid there, right up to I was about 7 when the cows went away. Yeah.
And then he got into horses, so all the property then, the farm then, okay. And did you get into horse showing then at that point, or?
We did a little horse showing, very minimum. It was more of the game shows we did.
Okay.
Yep, more of the game shows.
And when you say game shows for our listeners, barrels, poles?
Pickup race.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dollar race. I was really good at that dollar race.
Okay.
Where you get on bareback and they put a dollar on the horses in your thigh or your leg.
Okay.
And they make you lope and stop and trot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And if you lose your dollar, you're out.
Well, the person that won, there's only one winner. The last one with the dollar there.
Yeah.
You might, there might have been 10, 15, maybe in the class, or something, but
yeah,
I was pretty handy. My brother Tom did a little winning too.
Yeah, oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah.
So flags.
The pole bending.
Yeah.
There was a couple other studs. I can't remember what they were.
Were you a pretty good pole bender?
I did all right at it. No, maybe we didn't have the horses, I guess. We'd place or something, get our ribbons. Got a lot of ribbons.
Got a lot of ribbons for sure.
Yeah.
When did you discover rodeo? And more importantly, how did you discover rodeo?
Well, that dairy farm, when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
When I was 5 years old, 6 years old, so right up from 5 to 7. We had a pen of calves inside the barn. They were more close, like 100-pound calves, or they were a little more. Mm-hmm. I started jumping on the calves in the pens. I'd wait up on the gate, sitting on the gate, and the calves would. I'd kind of get down the gate, and the calves would come by, and I'd just bail on one.
Okay.
Yeah, hang on with my hands.
Yeah, had somebody dared you to do this, Joe? Or no?
Nope, all by myself. There was a hired man named Frank Rhodes.
Yeah.
He was the cow milker, and he heard the ruckus going on. He come over and he says, "What are you doing?" Oh, nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I had, here I got manure all over me from the pen. There's a straw in there. It wasn't like the concrete floor or anything.
Right.
But anyways, he said, "Well, you better knock that off."
Yeah.
Well, I kept doing it every now and then. I do it 2 or 3 times a week.
Oh my!
I just enjoyed it. I thought that was better than riding my pony.
Really?
I couldn't hang on as long as all.
Right. So no rope, nothing. So it's almost like the mutton bus and just grab a hold. Did you lay down or did you sit up?
No, I tried to sit up and get a hold of them. Of course, they're moving. They may have been walking around. And
yeah.
And I just be down there waiting, and I just throw my leg and get on one when she was right there. I kind of dropped down on her.
Okay.
You know, I only weighed probably 30, 40 pounds. You know, I'm never a very big guy.
Right. So did somebody then point you towards Little Britches or no?
Yes, there was a fella came along that he was in the service, and he knew this George that my mom was dating.
Mm-hmm.
He went up and he learned a little bit there, you know, on horses and everything. Was Ward Mitchell?
Oh yeah.
He's the one that got me going. Yeah, he basically did. You know, he come home from the service. I think I was around 7 or 8. And I don't remember if the cows. George had got rid of the cows yet, but he had come back to Auburn, and he's from Auburn, New York. And, but he come right to George's.
Okay.
And George ended up getting more horses, and Ward did some rodeo in a little bit before he went to the service. He got drafted when he was 18.
Oh, okay.
I found, but he's the one that got me started. There was an arena there at that farm, and Ward wasn't around. You know, I was pretty little. I don't remember everything, but I remember nobody ever did anything there in the arena, and there was a buck and chute there, which I didn't know at the time what it was. It was just when Ward come home from the service, I realized what it was. You know, I think I was about 6 or 7 when he come home from the service.
Okay. And so did he say, hey, let's run one in the buck and chute for you? Let's run a calf in?
Well, eventually, yeah. Not, eventually, yes. Yes, eventually. It wasn't a horse first. He was a bulldogger, and we had some steers.
Yeah.
And I would, you know, he made me a bull rope up, Doug. Ward Mitchell did.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he did. I remember it took him all. I think it took all winter. It seemed like it took all winter for him to build this little bull rope up for me.
So he hand braided it and everything for you.
He's done it. Yes, sir. I remember down watching him, you know, at times, and maybe I wasn't around him, but he'd work at it, and then his fingers would get sore, I guess, from all the braiding, you know.
Sure.
But,
my goodness. Okay. And then, so here's your bull rope. No doubt you had a bell. You had a bell, right?
Yeah. I had 2 little bells.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then glove.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Had just a glove. I don't know what kind. I had a glove on.
Okay. No chaps, none of that at that point.
No chaps. No.
Okay. So do you remember?
Had some spurs.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, he had some spurs that he kind of prefabbed them up, and so they could fit my little cowboy boots.
Yeah. That is pretty neat. Yeah. So did he run them in, and you got to do it in the arena right there on the farm?
Yep, sure did.
Do you remember the first 1 or 2 that you got on?
Well, yeah, you know, I did. I rode them.
Yeah.
You know, they're steers. He put a little flank on them, you know. They were bulldogging steers.
Yeah.
They were, I think they were, one was a Jersey, and another, I think he had a couple Ashires too. We had a couple, Ashires. I'd ride them there. You know, I get on, I think we had 3. We might have had more than that, but whatever we had, Doug, I'd get on them all once there, yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes I got leaning off to the side and the thing's running away, or maybe trying to buck a little, and I'd fall off.
Right. One-handed or two-handed at that point?
One hand, sir.
One-handed. Yep. Always one-handed?
One hand.
Okay.
Yeah, one-handed. Wardy told me you get one-handed. He showed me what to do and everything. Keep my hand there and look at my hand and my bull rope. You know, don't look nowhere else. That way you can follow your hand around.
Okay. Okay. So you got to start in the arena right on the farm. So when did you venture out? Was there a Little Britches rodeo around, a little organized rodeo somewhere?
Yep. We, he come, the Swerlingers there, Mike and Sam and Danny there, their parents, I don't even know if they were doing them previous to that, but, I went to one of them, and I don't know if that might have been their last one, or if they had more after that. I don't think they did a lot of them, but I could be wrong. I mean, maybe they did quite a few.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So Little Britches, did you compete in high school rodeo?
No.
No.
Well, there wasn't no such thing as some around us, I guess. I
Okay.
don't know. You have to go to Texas. That's what I thought was I'm going to Texas one day and be a rodeo cowboy.
Is that right? That was the
Yes,
goal.
I did.
Well, good
I'm
for
going
you.
to Texas.
Yeah.
I just thought rodeos, we had them there, but I wanted to go to the rodeos in Texas because you always heard stuff about Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So at this point, Little Britches, riding at the swear engines, you're what? Are you 7, 8, 9, 10?
When I went, no, I was like, it's funny, Doug, I was 14 years old
Okay.
when I went to that Little Britches.
Okay.
And it was kind of funny because, well, I find out, I don't remember just how that story went, but I find out, so I'm going to go to it. So Ward probably got me entered, something. I think we had to call to get entered. I don't think we just, but my mother took me over and we found the place. It took me forever to get up on the hill up there where Mike's family was raised there in Leicester, I believe.
In Leicester. Okay. Yeah.
And we get up there and going to get at, went over and I don't know if we paid entry fees back then, Doug. I'm not for sure how all that went on.
Right.
Can't remember, but I had to wait till I was 14 to buy a Empire Rodeo Association card.
Okay.
Yeah. And I had a card, and I didn't, I guess you could do the Little Britches up to your 18.
Okay.
And,
okay.
I'm kind of maybe going to get lost or not know it all, but I remember there was a ruckus because some of the people there had mentioned that I wasn't going to be able to ride because I had a rodeo card.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and nothing went on. And then Red Parker, he was kind of fighting for it, though, for me, Well, he was just a kid, and, there wasn't a lot of us kids there, I guess,
Yeah.
that competed at that, if I remember right.
Okay. Okay.
But, yeah.
Okay. And what did Mom think of this?
My mom never, she come to 2 rodeos, and she watched the rodeo, but when me or Tom was maybe riding. I know Tom was riding. She went, and Tom was riding then.
Yeah.
And she couldn't watch it. She'd close her eyes there, sitting in the bleachers.
Okay.
That's what she told us. She couldn't watch. She didn't like that.
Okay. Now Tom is already. He's how much younger than you, Joe?
Tom is like 4 years and 8 months.
Okay.
Almost 5 years.
So is he riding at the time of the Swearingen Little Britches rodeo? He is.
He did go to that. Yes, he did go to that, Doug. Yes. He was like, 9 years old or 8 years old.
Okay.
9, I guess, maybe. Yeah. He did juniors or something maybe they had for the age groups and that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he got interested because you were interested? Is that how that went?
Well, being on the farm there and stuff, and Ward always had a pile of guys coming over to practice and stuff like that, and yeah, he was bred into it, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
And at this time, you're 14 years old. You got your ERA card, which is very cool. This is a lot of history here.
1972 was when it was.
1972.
71. Excuse me. 71.
71.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what events other than was it calf riding, steer riding? What other events did you work at the Little Britches? Do you remember?
All I did was, they weren't going to let me ride, and then they ended up letting me ride, right?
Okay.
I was just in the bull riding.
Just in the bull riding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't think there was many of us in that, because I was in the senior group, and I just remember Mike Swearinger made a heck of a bull ride there on a bull.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how old Mike was at the time here. A couple years back there, I got one of them fancy phones and got on Facebook, and I opened Mike's profile up.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was 3 years older than me.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he graduated. if I'm not mistaken, you graduated from high school in 1974.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep, that's probably right. That's probably right.
And
Yep.
what year did you graduate?
I never did, Doug.
Okay. Okay.
I was going to be a cowboy. My
Okay.
guidance counselor. That could be another story.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of this. These stories go in so many wonderful directions.
Right.
Okay. And so you've got you're riding the little britches. You've now got a bull rope that Ward Mitchell built for you. Right. Do you still have that bull rope by chance?
No, I don't. I lost that bull rope. Well, I didn't have it when I was 14.
Yeah.
I just had it when I was just that little.
Okay.
I mean, eight years. Whenever Ward, I was 8, I think, maybe 7. Could have been 9 when Ward got out of the service.
Okay.
And I never knew Ward, but he became like a father to me.
Okay. And then steer wrestler Ward. Yeah, we know of Ward Mitchell. And at some point, I've got to get him on here to get his history too. Right. Mm-hmm. Certainly do.
He started. I don't know when it was.
Yeah. And so you got your ERA card, your Empire Rodeo Association card at 14. When did you start to go? Were you going then at this point to pro rodeos, to ERA rodeos?
Yes, sir. I was 14, bought a card, 1971. They probably, somewhere in the neighborhood, might have had 10 rodeos, maybe, at that time.
Mm-hmm.
They might have had 10. They used to hold a couple in Canandaigua a year there across from Roseland Park. And just the Attica, and that was my favorite. Still is today, always will be. It'll be the day I die. Attica, I don't know. I was going there at 7 years old.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, so that's connecting some of these dots. So you had seen some of the other cowboys at that point at 7 years old. You're sitting in the grandstand.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I didn't sit in the grandstands. I sat up by the edge of the fence.
Oh, okay.
I was right up by the bucking chutes there at the end. We're at the bucking chutes.
Okay.
Wardy wouldn't let me go behind till I got to be about 11 years old. I can go up on the back of the chutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's quite a promotion. That's quite a deal.
Yeah. I went from where the swing gate to go in and out is right on the back of the chutes. Oh yeah, I thought I was in heaven.
Oh, I'll bet. So about 10 rodeos in a year you could get to. You're pretty young, 14. You're not even driving yet. How are you getting, or maybe you were, you might have had a permit at that point.
Right. I was with Wardy.
Oh, you were?
With Ward. Yeah.
Okay.
That was when the families went and you hung out for the weekend,
Okay.
Then.
So a bit of travel, out and about. And what do you remember about the 1971 season? How did you do?
1971, I made the finals. They had a finals, ERA finals.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't remember where I was. I think they brought 10 people back up. I think it was 10. But there's a lot of guys, they were saying, geez, this guy right here, he's like the guy, but boy.
Right.
He's something else. I did good. I made the finals. I made a couple bucks, Doug. at it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I won a couple checks. I'm not for sure. I could have won one of them, maybe. I'm not for sure.
Okay. And riding bulls, that was your single event?
Well, I got to riding bucking horses because Ward, he was a saddle bronc rider in his day. And, well, I guess he rode barebacks. I remember seeing him ride the saddle broncs, but not the barebacks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you start to ride saddle broncs then at that point? Oh, you did?
Yep. Younger than that, Doug. Younger than that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Younger than that. Ward, when I was like 9 or 10, it may have been 11, but he took a pony saddle and he cut it all up and stuff and made like bigger swells on the pony saddle.
Okay.
And he put some different fenders on it and stuff so the stirrups would move easier, like his bronc riding saddle.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made me one of them up, Doug. I think I was 10 or 11.
Oh, my gosh, that is incredible.
And I get on the ponies. Yeah, I get on the ponies.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And that's where you learn to handle your rein, to the spurring motion, all that sort of thing.
Well, I was trying to, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So in 71, you're now moved up to pro rodeo. You're not riding on that little pony saddle that Ward Mitchell built for you anymore.
No, I did not. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I did ride some broncs in the ERA, and I think I entered a few of them up in Ontario in Canada. They had an association up there. I think I did enter. I know I got on a couple 3 horses up there, I guess.
Okay.
I did a little more at the ERAs that year, and I got on some barebacks too.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, at the start. But,
okay.
Yeah, that bronc and bareback all went away after I was 17. I didn't care about no horses no more.
Really? So at 17, you focused on bulls?
Bull riding was me, yes. That's it was a lot easier.
yeah, for sure.
That bronc riding, even the barebacks, there's just too many moving parts, and I didn't like it.
Well, there is that. I don't know that it's easier, but it's definitely maybe
it was for me. I thought it was.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. And as you focus on the bulls at 17 years of age, did you go, were there schools? Where were you getting your instruction? How were you continuing to improve?
Just the riders. I never went to any schools at that age, but just going with Ward from day one. I mean, there's L. Dodge and Don Harding. He was, they were all young too, I mean, I don't know where they were, but they were older than me. But Bruce Doherty, just a bunch of guys there that were around, and I thought they rode pretty good. They rode a lot of their bulls, but they would help me out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So picking it up as you're going down the road, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so at 17, you're focused on bulls. You're making finals. Mm-hmm. You're traveling a little bit further afield at this point, getting a little. How many rodeos? In 1971, you rode 10 rodeos.
Yep.
What are you riding at 17?
At 17, rodeos wise?
Yeah.
I thought probably was going to 20, 25 rodeos, I'm going to say. Because the ERAs, the ORAs, and then, I had the IRA card.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh, yeah, I had that. I bought a permit. I get ahead of us there. Maybe trying to go backwards, but I was 15 and over in Schenectady, New York. It was in the winter. Ward was going, and we got a permit. I think the permit cost me $5, and it was good for one rodeo, though. It was an IRA permit.
Okay.
So that was my first really big rodeo, right? I mean, Jack Wiseman and all, I didn't know at the time I remember seeing read the newspapers.
Right.
Rodeo News or whatever there but Jack was there, and the Bird brothers were there, and just a bunch of some bareback riders from way back. They showed up at this little, $200 added rodeo, and that was probably a lot of money back then.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's when I was in 72.
That was 72. You at 15 years of age, you got you bought your IRA permit for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I did buy it because I had money from winning, but this was in the winter though. Yeah.
Yeah. Winter rodeo.
And I was pretty. I was pretty impressed there though when I got there. I mean, and all the big guys. I mean, there were bigger guys around the ERAs, and there were some good hands we had back then in there. Mm-hmm. I looked up to him. Bucky Dodge was a heck of a hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he was a New York Cowboy, Bucky Dodge?
He was from New York. Yep, he's from down there around Oswego, New York.
Okay.
I can't remember the town there, around Nichols in that area down in there.
Okay. And so at 17, you've got you're riding IRA, IPRA, ERA, ORA, Ontario Rodeo Association. Trying to remember, APRA came in. That was after Delmar or something like that.
I owned the Delmarva card.
You did.
Delmarva. Yeah, I did 1 year, and then that's when they changed it to the APRA.
Okay, so Delmarva, for our listeners, that was Delaware and Maryland, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So you were traveling that far. Now that's a ways from upstate New York where you're living.
Right. That's when I was 16 when that happened, I guess. I was pretty fortunate.
Mm-hmm.
I had my own vehicle, a brand new Ford 1973 when I turned 16.
Holy cow. How did you swing that?
well, I quit school. I didn't like school. I mean, I don't know. I got a lot of common sense. I probably don't have a lot of book smart stuff, but I have a lot of common sense.
Okay.
But I got the truck, and I had a job that Ward knew the people. It was a big 3,000 head of veal calves they run at the place.
Yeah.
And they were outside on a feedlot, too, There's no barns for them. They're in feedlots with, covers. They had covers to get underneath.
Okay.
So I ended up with that job, and I'll tell you, I thought I was a millionaire. I was making $250 a week. They paid me.
Okay.
Yeah. So I remember buying the truck. I got some money together. I won a little money, probably rodeoing. Had that gathered up. And I think my truck cost $3,700 some dollars.
Brand new.
I'm pretty sure, brand spanking new, two-tone, pretty truck, single cab.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice, sharp. I went and bought me a cap there with the Barrett family. With the Barrett family, I put a cap on because young Dickie Barrett, he had one on his truck, and he was 2 or 3 years older than me. But,
okay, and you would you'd sleep in the truck in the cap then.
Yes, that's what we did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who and this is one of the most frequently asked questions we get is around traveling. So who were you traveling with at that point? Bull riders, bronc riders? How did you usually travel?
Bears, broncs, and bull riders.
Okay.
Yeah, we take turns, But there's different kids. Me and Mike, and Mike had an old Dodge. I won't forget it, an old Dodge, and he kept a toolbox in there. It's a good thing he was a mechanic because it seemed like we broke down a couple times in that thing or more.
Yeah. So this is early 90s, 74, 75, something like this now, when you're really starting to go. And here was a question that I was asked a couple days ago. Before computers and cell phones, how did you enter a rodeo? How did you arrange your travel partners? There's no doubt they're scattered around a bit.
Right.
So how did you enter a rodeo back then?
Well, back then, say if there was 4 or 5 of us in the truck, and I think we've had 7 or 8 before of us in the truck going for the weekend.
7 or 8?
Yes, we have. Yes.
In a single, you can see 3 in the front.
Yeah, right, and in the back.
Okay.
You got all the luggage, the saddles, the rigging bag.
Yeah.
There was a mattress that laid a piece of plywood across the cap. The cap was like level high with the cab.
Yep.
Yeah.
And would you let others drive?
No, I might have when I was younger there like that. But we weren't going off real far, maybe 4 or 5 hours is the farthest.
Okay.
At that age.
And how did you split expenses, fuel, and going down the road?
Well, a lot of times we made a kitty up, put money in an envelope. When we took off, everybody throw in 10 or $20 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then what was left in the envelope when we got done, we divided it out between whatever guys were in the truck.
Okay. Probably paying $1.25 a gallon or something at that point, right?
It had to been. Yeah, it was probably a short dollar. Yeah. 73 and 4. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And how did you enter the rodeos? How did you learn of the rodeos? How did you enter?
You'd get a magazine from the associations. PRA sent a newsletter out, had all their rodeos and the entries on it. And then, of course, the IRAs, they had a nice little book they had. And you could see the dates of the rodeos that maybe you wanted and the time you entered. And you did it with the old rotary phones.
Okay.
And if they were really big rodeos, you could be on the phone for an hour.
Trying to get through.
to get it to ring.
Okay.
It was always busy. Yeah.
Always busy. Okay.
So with a bunch of guys, if we had 4 or 5 going or whatever it may have been, and maybe some guys didn't, maybe we didn't let them try to enter, we'd get on the phones and we'd start dialing, right?
Okay.
Just have your finger ready to hang that rotary up, you know. Instead of big, so you want to hang and start it rolling around again. You know, it wasn't like no redials.
No redial. That's just what I was thinking. No redial.
Your darn fingers were just sore. My mom said, "You're wearing my phone out, Joe."
No doubt. And did you ever show up at a rodeo and they go, "Yeah, we don't have you. We've misplaced you. We had you up last night, not tonight"?
That had happened a couple of times. Yes, it had. But we got to compete because it was a mistake. Yeah, it was somebody in the vehicle, not myself, but somebody in the truck with us was. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
They let them compete. Yeah.
Okay. And then arranging travel, you're going to meet somebody, at this town or that town or this truck stop.
Mm-hmm. Well, most of us was pretty much from Auburn.
Okay.
In the surrounding area over to Leicester,
Yeah.
We'd go all meet up at, maybe Sean McDonald's or Mike's house.
Okay.
And if we happened to have been east of my place, they'd come to my house and just leave the vehicles there.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So at this point, you're still only riding bulls. You've said, I'm a specialist now.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I thought I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as you got older, you've got this brand new Ford truck. When did you really start to break out? What you would say, these were my busiest years. And for our listeners, how many rodeos might you compete at in a year?
From the age of 16, 17, I probably was going to 25, 30 rodeos.
Okay.
And as each year went on, 17, 18, I went to Florida my first time at 17 with a guy named Ed Prosier.
Oh, yeah, bronc rider.
Bronc rider, saddle bronc rider. We went down to Homestead, Florida.
Okay. So, and this was in the winter. Well, I've heard this a bunch. How did, and this was a question from a listener also, how did you know to go to Florida? Ed Prosier had been going down there?
Ed, I don't know if I don't think Ed was there ever.
Okay.
But, it was an IRA rodeo. Of course, again, they send you a magazine every month, and they would have it in the back would be all the rodeos they had, and they had magazine could have, I don't know, a lot.
Yeah.
On a week,
yeah. And did you winter in Florida?
No, we drove there and came right home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so I've heard stories of some of the New York Cowboys that have gone down and wintered down there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I didn't winter, but I used to stay there. I was in my 20s, short 20s, 23 or 4. I started going to Florida to trim cows, dairy cows' feet.
Okay.
And they had, just because they had all the rodeos.
Yeah.
Down there in the winter.
And you got to get out of that New York winter.
That good New York winter.
So what associations, so now you're 18, 19, 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
What association, you're riding IPRA, what other associations are you really focused on?
Okay. I went to whatever was around till I was 22 years old. It was ARAs. The ARA had closed. I think they closed in maybe 76, I think. They had shut the Empire Rodeo Association down.
Okay.
Contractor-wise and stuff, I guess. And
yeah.
I'm not for sure just how it all, but it went. So I kind of was going to the IRA rodeos.
Okay.
And then there was the APRA rodeos, of course.
Yeah.
They were both. Yeah.
Okay. And you still, until you were 22 years old, you said you stayed pretty close.
Yeah. Well, I ventured off and went to Florida, and out in Michigan, Indiana, Ohio.
Okay.
Whatever. East of the Mississippi. straight draw
Okay.
line from north to south, and
Well, that's not
That's a big
staying
area.
close to the house anymore.
no, but it is, but it
Yeah,
ain't.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we're there, do our thing, and go to the next rodeo. We're going to end up going back to New York.
Okay, okay.
And then take off the next weekend.
Take off. You always went home. Did you ever get to a point where you stayed out?
Maybe a couple times I did for 10 days, 8 days. Yeah.
Okay,
Yep,
okay,
that's it.
okay. And something changed at 22 years of age?
Yes, at 22, I just Lord there. They've been after me for 2-3 years. Probably from the time I was 19. I don't know. Maybe it could have been earlier, but you need to get your PRCA card. He'd call me boy sometimes when he was a little perturbed with me.
Right. Was that often, Joe? Be fair.
Well,
be true.
no, it might have been. I don't know, Doug. But, and one day I don't know. I just didn't like it. How I talked to Ward, they just weren't fair, I mean, there's some guys around that did travel a little bit.
Okay.
The judging just was not fair.
In the PRCA?
No, in the IRA rodeos.
Oh,
basically.
really? The IRA, even
That wasn't very good.
It wasn't fair. Okay.
No, I've seen it go on a lot with Mike. When Mike started going off to the IRAs. I mean, I was going to him before Mike the IRAs. Mike was a 4 vet man, right? And
Yep.
I don't know. But anyway, we'll just leave that alone. It's just judging wise. So I was 22, 21. I was there, and I always kept in touch with Ward. I say he's my dad.
Okay.
He raised us kids.
Okay.
And basically, and 22, I went over and seen him. And I said, "Look, and I'm ready to go the other way." Well, it's about god darn time.
Right. Okay.
He cut a deal out of the sports news there, an application thing, and of course you can't just you've got to buy a permit.
Yeah.
You had to fill your permit. You had to have $1,000. I think they've raised it more now. I think.
Okay.
You had to have 1,000, and so I sent that all in, and I went to my first. I went to 2 rodeos. I went to Lake Luzerne Friday night, and there was another one that Ronnie Martin was the contractor, All American Rodeo Company. He did the Lake Luzerne Rodeo, Painted Pony.
Okay.
PRCA.
Oh, he did. He did. Okay.
He did. He was there he was there when I went. I think they were there quite a few years.
Okay.
And then, I don't know, something happened, and Ronnie moved that Friday night down to his house in Boston Spa.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he moved it. Something went on there. They were closing down or selling it. The Martins didn't own it. They just put the rodeo on.
Okay.
But they go back to the deal with the money. So I won the bull riding there. My first pro rodeo. I won the bull riding there. And I got the bulldog and steers too.
Oh, you
and
did?
I placed. Oh yeah.
Okay.
And I placed that was in 1979, and I placed 3rd or 4th in the steer wrestling there at Painted Pony.
Oh wow.
And then they had a rodeo Saturday a 2-day rodeo. We were up Saturday. I was traveling with another guy, Daryl Lane.
Oh yeah.
Me and Daryl there. And we went to this. I think it was in Massachusetts, or might have been New Hampshire, somewhere. Ronnie had a road show out there.
Okay.
And darn if I don't go there, and I win the bull riding there.
Oh wow.
Well, it gets all said and done. I had my permit filled in 2 rodeos.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And more money than you knew what to do with at that point.
Well, I thought it was, yeah. I was trimming cows too.
You were still okay.
Yeah. That's when I started when I was 22, trimming cows.
Okay.
On my own. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Because that's one of the questions that comes in a lot. Also, we know they're rodeo cowboys. Are they making their living on the road full time? Do they have other jobs? Yeah. What are they doing? And for the listeners, what does it mean to trim a cow?
Dairy cow. Oh, I had like a table you'd put them on. You put belly bands around them, and then that would hydraulically tip them over on their side.
Okay.
And then you tie their legs down to the table, and then you would trim her feet up.
Okay. So like a horse.
Like a horse, yep. You do them just like a horse. You didn't put shoes on, you just trimmed them.
Okay.
And yeah.
Clippers like a horse? Nippers?
Yep. No, they had other, they used to use them, I guess, but when I learned from the fellow that taught me, is he had, they were like wooden handles on them, pretty tall with wide blades, about 2-inch blades, there's two of them close together.
Okay.
Yeah. And knives, hoof knives.
Okay, hoof knives, just like what you'd use on a horse.
On a horse, except you wouldn't use guys did do it that way, but the other nippers were better because you'd have to make too many cuts on some of them cows' feet with them little horseshoe nippers.
I see. Okay. So backing up, 1979, when fill your permit, which is a big deal to fill your permit in 2 rodeos. Back then, that's a big deal. That's a darn successful weekend. And you're traveling with Darrell Lane. Now he was just, and I don't mean to say it that way, he only bulldogged.
Darrell was roped calves too. Very good calf roper.
Roper. He was. Okay.
Calf roper bulldogger.
Okay. So was he hauling horses when you traveled with him?
Yes, we had. Yeah, that was. I rode Darrell's horse. He had at that time was called Lippy.
Yeah. And did he have a team of horses? Did he have a hazing horse and a dogging horse?
Yep. He's the hazing horse was his calf horse. I think
really?
that horse was, Darrell bought him out of Texas, and I think, if I remember right, I think it was with buttermilk. So he would do haze on him and then rope calves on that horse.
Okay. And so you were, when did you start dogging? How old were you? What year?
I started, let me tell you.
I mean, you're not a great big guy, dude.
So, let me tell you about me and my brother Tom. Let me back up where I started wanting to be a bulldogger. Yeah. Because we're bulldogs, and these have guys come to the house as we were kids growing up, and I say Tommy's put there 5 years younger than me.
Yeah.
So we got to see it. Well, we had a lot of horses. That George was still with him. Anyways, they'd come and bulldog. So we ride, me and Tommy, I come up with the idea. Tommy, I'm only 11, I think, and Tom's, going to be 4 or 5 years younger, so he's like 5, 6 years old with him.
Wow. Okay.
So we got another pony. I don't remember what that Flicka, I think that pony was. Tom was riding. I was riding the horses, and Tom rode some of the big POA pony size horses.
Oh yeah.
But we take a 55-gallon drum I come up with because Ward's girlfriend there at the time, he never married her, but the Joan Hoppy, she had her barrels, and she'd run the barrels there.
I see. Okay.
So we took a barrel. We took a 55, and Ward had 2 bucking chutes and had the boxes for the steer wrestling.
Okay.
So I got the barrel. I got a saddle pad out, and I took some valentine up there to the arena with us.
Yeah.
Me and Tom were all alone. Ward's gone. He wouldn't have probably let us do that.
Right. Right.
We were sneaking.
Yeah.
And anyways, we'd take the pony, and it got to be bigger horses eventually, and we'd walk down through there, and we'd drop off on that barrel.
Oh, wow. So practice sliding off. Okay.
Sliding off. Yep.
Okay.
And I mean, it's just a pony because the barrel's laying on the ground.
Yeah.
And we got going a little bigger horses, and pretty quick, we're trotting, and then we got the loping, after time.
Yeah.
And trying to get off, and we had to rearrange our pad, even though we had it tied up with valentine.
Okay.
And,
right.
I didn't know how we could do it so we could catch something on it, so we didn't miss it all the time. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I took a little broom handle stick that was broke or something. I drilled some holes in that tub. I stuck the broom handle through to make it like horns.
Oh my goodness! Really? Oh my goodness! Okay.
Yeah. This went on for probably a year or better. I mean, we were doing that. Ward found out about it. He didn't like it, but he kind of, well, go ahead, you don't get hurt.
Yeah, I was going to say there had to be a broken broom handle or whatever. It's got to result in some sort of splinters or something. What about bumps and bruises and burns?
Yeah, we got bruises probably. Got rub marks on our. We might have been in short sleeve shirts.
No doubt. Probably didn't even have shirts on at that point. Yeah.
I can't remember.
You're in the practice pen.
Yeah.
Okay. So at a very early age, you're starting on the basics of bulldogging.
Right. I didn't know much other than watch Ward and them do it. You know what I mean? When I was that little boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Even there. Well, we'd go to Darrell Lane's too. You know, I guess when I was 8, 9, 10 years old in there, I'd go over there to Darrell's and he bulldogged there. And, you know, what Darrell get 5, 6, 7 guys would come and bulldog steers there.
Yeah. So
and when they got done bulldogging, I got to get on 4 or 5 of the steers.
Okay.
I brought my bull rope with me and everything.
Okay. All right. Excellent. So when you were riding, you know, 22 years of age, you're staying pretty close still. Mm-hmm. Were you bulldogging back then? ERA and all that sort of thing?
I did not. I was probably, I never did jump any, I don't think, in the ARA or the PRA.
Okay.
I don't believe I did. Yeah, because they shut down there, and I got jumping steers at the APRA radios.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
so I would have been 16, 17, 18. Yeah.
Okay. And the IRA, you were dogging.
Mm-hmm.
And while the judging wasn't fair for the scored events, the judged events, you know, the bronc riding, bull riding,
right,
etc., they couldn't mess with you, could they, on the dogging end?
No, I don't believe they did ever.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
No, I thought that was good. It's just, you know, if the right guys were there, the guys that was going to the IFR, just was not a good. And I mean, I see it, you know, I was around that stuff as a little kid growing up, you know, and I got to learn a little bit from watching and hearing guys talk afterwards or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 22 years of age, you now have a PRCA card. You filled it in one weekend, your permit, and that was your rookie year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you went on at 22. You've now got a card. How busy were you the remainder of that 1979 year?
Well, I didn't make Cowtown a lot in 1979. I went to a lot of the road shows they put on.
Okay.
They had they used to do like the North Washington, Pennsylvania was a really big.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't realize it. Ward told me it'll pay better, but there was always more added money at the rodeos. In that, you know, in the Northeast in the PRCA, and there was in the amateur ranks.
Oh, is that right? There was just more money added.
Yes, they had more money added.
Okay.
Yes.
And so you had North Washington, that was PRCA, and Gary.
Gary was another one. Yep. We're like icons there, me and Tom, I guess.
Okay. So
I talked to a lady called me a while back. I can't remember. Anyways, and she asked about something, and I said, "Oh, I didn't know if you knew. Oh, you and your brother Tom are like icons here."
Okay. Memorable. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you were then hauling for 2 events everywhere you went?
Basically, yeah. If I happened to take off out of our circuit, I basically rode bulls there for a few years.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, you know I was a little timid, I guess, to go around and ask to get a ride off somebody's horse and all that. You know, I just didn't do that right off the bat.
Yeah. So did you also haze on occasion back then?
Boy, I don't think I might have started hazing. Yeah, I think I hazed with Wardy there. I guess we're there at the house there. I don't know, I was 16 maybe, 17.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you could work both sides of the steers then in the dogging, for sure.
Very, very minimum at that point, yes.
Yeah. So in the circuit, you're 1979. You're North Washington, Gary. You're hustling in the circuit. Are you just focused at that point on the PRCA, or you're still IRA and APRA?
No, you weren't allowed to do that back then.
Okay.
Yeah, you weren't allowed. If you held the PRCA card, you could only go to PRCA rodeos, and it's kind of funny because I knew that in previous years, way when I was younger. A lot of them guys would get their permit, or if they had a card, they'd enter the amateur rodeos with maybe the same last name but use a different first name.
I see.
And they caught a lot of them at times, and it costs like $1,000 fine to keep your PRCA card.
Really? If you were riding an association other than the PRCA, they could fine you.
Yes.
Wow, and $1,000 back then, Joe.
Yeah, the PRCA, that's a lot. Yeah, so I wasn't going to change. I did not want to do that, right?
Right. Yeah, So you had to leave the circuit then quite a bit to get to rodeos.
I did, yes, Doug, I did. Yeah, I was 22. In the fall, I went to that 79. I went to Bonifay, Florida. I rode my bull. Didn't win no money. And I went to a couple others. Montgomery, Alabama. Mm-hmm. That was another one. Mm-hmm. Went to Montgomery. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I rode my bull there or not, but I didn't get nothing. I didn't win no money.
Okay. And did you find leaving the circuit, the judging got tougher? They didn't know who you were? Was there such a thing in the PRCA?
Mm-hmm. Well, not really. It was it was at times 23, 24. I was going out to the Great Lakes circuit some.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and there were some guys out there. With Monty Hawkeye Henson was entered, and Bobby Brown.
Okay.
Well, I'm just going, that's in my mind right now. And I seen them, I was there the first they were out, and I'm like, darn, they give them a couple extra points, I thought.
Okay.
Not like 10 points the IRA could do.
I see. Yeah. And I do remember some of those stories. I know what you're talking about on the IRA. Yeah. So you declared though First Frontier Circuit, the Northeast. That was your home circuit. That was me. And did you qualify at 22? You qualified for the circuit finals that year?
I did. I qualified in the steer wrestling and the bull riding. I was first in the bull riding going into the finals, and I won the bull riding year end. Mm-hmm. And I finished wherever in the steer wrestling. I don't know if I even made any money that year in 79 in the finals in the bulldogging.
Okay.
But I made enough to get there. I think they would take 10 people, and I think I was down eighth or ninth or something into the finals. Yeah.
In the steer wrestling.
Yeah, and I was sitting third or fourth in the all around at that time.
I was going to ask. So, and that's a pretty cool thing for our listeners. It's one thing to be really good at the bull riding, or really good at the bulldogging. But man, when you've got to put both those skills to work and earn money, and that's how you get in that all around points race. I've always heard that is one of the most coveted belt buckles you can walk away with, is that all around championship belt buckle.
It would be, Doug. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think I ended up third for the year when it got over in 79.
Okay. Okay. And at that time, had they started the Dodge National Circuit Finals Rodeo yet?
No, they hadn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I think first year was 19. Well, it would have been 1986.
Oh, wow.
Actually, it being in Pocatello, it was in the spring of the year in March of 87.
Of 87 was the first
87.
Year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the points that they went off of on the circuits were it would have been because January changed over, right?
Right. Right. So at 1986 points you're riding on.
Yeah, right. The first DNFRC there, it was an 87.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you finish up your first full year, 1979, 22 years of age. Do you remember total money won in the PRCA all around? Do you just remember total money at that point?
I had like almost 6,000 in the bull riding,
Okay.
and I don't know if I had. I don't think I had 2,001 in the bulldogging.
Okay.
More, maybe maybe 1,500 or less. I'm not for sure.
Okay. And so call it $8,000 for the year,
Right.
just PRCA.
Mm-hmm.
Did you make money? Could you cover your expenses, your entry fees?
I did do that. Yes, I'm pretty sure. Everything was cheaper, and the money was pretty good. You're giving $1 something for fuel.
Yeah.
A little more. It might have been up a little higher there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely higher, I guess, when I was 22, but it was still pretty cheap. Yeah, it was.
Okay.
I think I made money. Maybe I broke even anyways.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Yeah, fees were cheaper.
And coming back to the career, you're trimming hooves, so you had the ability to get away. Didn't hurt the business for you to be able to go rodeo.
No, it didn't. And I should have went more, but I was just afraid. I knew one day I was going to retire, and I don't think I was going to be able to make that kind of money rodeoing.
Okay.
But I would. That was guaranteed money when you went to work.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And do you remember that year injuries or anything that you had to face as you were competing? 22 years of age.
I was pretty fortunate. I mean, I might have got banged up a little bit. I'm sure I did, right? You're going to play that rodeo game and go get on 30, 35, 40 bulls. You're going to get bruises and bumps somewhere, but really nothing seriously that first year. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hang-ups, getting hung up in the bull rope ever?
Oh,
at 22 now.
I'd learned not to do that as much. I did when I was younger. I've been knocked out a few times from below 22, and they knocked me out a few times there when I was 22 and above. But,
okay. So at 22 years of age, this first year, this breakout year, you won $8,000. Any bulls that you got on, right or not, that just stick in your brain as just memorable rides or attempts even, Joe?
Mm-hmm. One I really remember, and I can remember it till today, and I got over being mad. I should have rode him with All American had a bull called Hotline. Brand number was 11 on him, and I always wanted to get him, and I just never had a chance to draw him.
Okay.
In 1980, I drawed that bull. He's been to the NFR two times. Yes, 2 times. He went, 2 times. And I got on him in 80. Maybe it was 3. Yeah, it was 3 times. In 80, he made it again. But I had him that year, and he was that bull bucked. I'd say that bull. He probably was a good 22-point bull.
Really?
Black Angus Muley.
Okay.
He bucked.
Okay.
He bucked. They never rode him at the finals.
Oh, okay.
Each year they took him. Yeah, they bucked him twice. They never rode him.
So 22-point bull. That means both judges, right, get 22 points for the bull. That's 44. If you rode him jump for jump, and you just met him at 22 points from each judge, you're an 88-point ride.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Right. Putting that into perspective. Okay.
Yeah. And I think I rode him, if I hit that they had watches back then.
Okay. Okay.
They come out with the watches a few years later.
Yeah.
The PRCA did. And then I think I could, maybe I didn't, but I didn't ride him. I was in the air going off, my hand come out of the rope. I didn't have no tail in my hand or anything.
Yep.
I remember hearing a whistle go as I think I still had a leg on him when the whistle went off.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then they said, nope, did not make the ride.
Did not make it. Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, there was everybody. I put a picture on there from the museum.
Yeah,
New York Boat Museum. I put one on there, a hotline. He's right there in the gate. I mean, that's one out there, and he's coming.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, and then he'll reverse it, too. When he reversed it, he got strong, what messed me up.
Okay.
I got behind.
And you rode which hand?
I rode left-handed.
You did all the way through, you from the beginning to the end. Okay.
Yep.
And the bull hotline, he was a right-hand delivery, left-hand delivery.
That was all the painted pony shoots were left-hand delivery.
Was he a left-hand spinning bull?
He'd jump out of it. Well, he could jump out of it. Nobody's ever rode him very far there. Well, when he got older, I rode him when he was older, but when he was in his prime, he went back to the right about 6 seconds into the deal, and he got me back off my bull rope, and I kept just hustling, and
yeah,
I don't know. Finally, off I went.
Okay.
I was mad.
Yeah,
I was mad. I told Ronnie said something, Martin. I said, "Will you run him back in here then, and I'm going to show you how to ride him."
Yeah.
I was mad. He probably would have thrown me off anyway. I don't know, but.
So you're a left-handed rider, and we talk about this during some of the PBR events that we cover. Were you pretty good? Which way were you best? Left-handed bulls or left-hand spinning bulls? Right-hand spinning bulls? Could you ride both ways?
Well, depends on how the bull was bucking. For me, I liked them better to the left for sure, into my hand.
Okay.
And then them ones that went to the right. They felt as good as the ones that went to the left for me, but then a lot of them didn't,
Yeah.
It was just, I don't know. I had a little fetish about that for a little while. And then I finally figured out, I had a few of them pro guys talk to me, see me at the rodeos, making the NFR back then.
Okay.
And kind of showed me a few things that I should try to do,
In our next episode with Joe, we will pick up with the 2-event Cowboy and continue our conversation. I got to know Joe when I was announcing rodeos and he was judging them. Through these phone conversations that we've had over this last few weeks, I've gotten to know Joe a lot better. I've learned a lot about him, not just about his history, but also his approach to life. And I've really enjoyed talking with him. This is how true relationships are made and strengthened, through conversations and truly, deeply listening. And stronger relationships are always good. Now, I've added some links from my research in the notes of this episode for your review. To make your listening easier, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Search for Beyond the Chutes and follow us. Reminder, check out the New York State Rodeo Museum Facebook group page and become a member. We also have a Facebook page for Beyond the Chutes. Become a friend, follow, like, just say hello, leave us some comments. We love comments. And thank you to ParaSight Systems for their support with our podcast. ParaSight Systems is a push-button parasitic diagnostic system for pasture animals, horses, cattle, goats, sheep, and chickens. And they also have the diagnostic system for your companion animals, your dogs and cats. Get focused on treatment. Get the data you need to properly treat your animals for the exact infestation that they are carrying. You can find them at ParasightSystems.com. Check us out on Beyond the Chutes webpage at BeyondTheChutes.show. This is Beyond the Chutes, BTC. Until next time, this is Doug Simcox. Thank you for listening.